Welcome to First Impact, a weekly podcast where we talk about the 90s anime series Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm Jordan, and with me is my co-host Jen. Today, our first episode of discussion is Rei I, originally aired on November 1st, 1995, written by Hideaki Anno and Akio Satsukawa, directed by Keiichi Sugiyama. Jen, what did you think of this episode?
It was a turning point in my life. No, just in the series. This is very obviously from the title, very Rei-centered episode.
Yes. Yeah. So this is
Rei and Gendo.
I would say, in terms of being a turning point for the series, it's very much a settling into what the series is, big inverted commas, going to be.
That's what it seems like.
And finally sort of establishing what has been one of the most mysterious parts of the series so far, which is Rei, who she is, and what her sort of deal is as a whole.
Yep.
Obviously starting with a flashback to the activation that's been alluded to for the past several sort of, pretty much the entire series from the start, which is that she'd obviously been injured in this sort of test activation.
Well, I didn't know, unless I missed it, I didn't know whether her injuries were from a test or like a fight with an angel.
Right. I think at the first episode, this is the sort of, they acknowledged that this is the first time an angel's attacked in X amount of years.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But
we didn't know the exact nature.
You do see Unit Zero in that conversation between Ritsuko and Gendo in the control room.
That's right.
You see
mid-punch.
We
see the punch happen. What was interesting about that whole flashback sequence was I could see it immediately. I don't know how, but Gendo, he looked younger, obviously. He looked younger and his glasses were different. I think, this is like young Gendo, right?
Right. Which is funny because I don't think it's supposed to be.
It's not way in the past at all.
No, right. It's like maybe a month.
A few weeks. Yeah. But I don't know. He just seemed to have more life about him. Yeah. And we sort of see that because he and Rei have some sort of connection, don't they?
Yes, that's something that repeatedly comes up in that episode.
Which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, when the incident happens at the start in that flashback, he's the first responder. He's into essentially what is a danger zone.
Yeah, he has a very emotional
himself, opening the capsule, the entry plug, and
melts his glasses.
Yeah, the heated liquid,
that.
the LCL.
Oh yeah, it's that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so he breaks the seal and opens it, and the LCL floods out, and because the entry plug's been superheated, the LCL ends up like cracking or warping his glasses.
Yeah.
And then he the very upfront sort of concern for her well-being, and which is like completely, from everything we've seen from him so far,
flies in the face.
Uncharacteristic of him. This sort of very pragmatic sort of character who his only primary concern is the mission at hand.
Well, it's interesting because even like present day, later when we see Gendo and Rei talking and Shinji's looking at them from a distance.
When he's in Unit 1 with
the
test activation.
And he sees them sort of, smiling a little bit. Yeah. And having a bit more of a rapport.
He sort of enhance.
And
he just keeps punching in onto Gendo's face and then Rei's face, and you see a very pleasant interaction between the two of them.
And Shinji's like, "What the hell, Dad?" But it's funny because remember, I don't remember, it was the first or the second episode where Masato comes in and sees Gendo looking at Unit 1, I think. And he had just been to visit Rei in the hospital.
Right.
Remember?
Yep.
And Masato's like, "Oh, you saw Rei, how was she?"
He gives this very curt,
so that was interesting.
The Gendo doth protest too much.
Yeah. So I guess he obviously has this connection with Rei, but in that little moment with Masato, he's like, "Oh, yes, should be ready."
I think it was Ritsuko.
It was Ritsuko. So, he's sort of maybe trying to hide his little, affection for Rei.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there, but it was, in the background.
Yeah.
So in this episode, we get Shinji, I don't know whether Ritsuko's sort of playing a matchmaker angle, but for some reason or another, she can't remember to give Rei the ID card and sort of sends him around.
Doesn't sound like Ritsuko thing to do.
Yeah, it seems like very strange that she can't remember to give probably the most, Rei she exists to work at Nerve.
Yeah.
And when she's not working at Nerve, basically be on call at Nerve. She has no life outside of
that's right.
Her duties. So the idea of not being able to give her an ID card
seemed very
strikes me as odd. But they sort of use that as an excuse to get Shinji like a more sort of like interaction between the two of them.
Do you think that's the only reason why Ritsuko was at Masato's house having dinner?
I think that's just sort of establishing the sort of like outside of being colleagues that they do have a sort of friendship sort of either through work or beforehand. That's just sort of an extension of that.
It seems, what do you think? It seems like it will be hard for these nerve people, especially the ones working closely with the unit division, to have sort of friends outside of it.
Yeah, I think it's like you're effectively in a war.
Yeah,
against a alien threat.
Yeah.
So like, how much of a life do you have beyond that? And we see with Masato that essentially she has no life beyond work. Her house is a mess. Her like home life is very slovenly. And even sort of like now that Shinji's there, when it's her turn to cook, it's still the ready-made meals. And very strange eating habits that like she enjoys the way she prepares the curry and the ramen. No one else does. Not even Pen Pen. No. Pen Pen is killed by the food.
Makes an appearance. Yeah, I
love that Pen Pen's got a beer.
Yeah, that's right. I'm wondering if is Pen Pen the alcoholic and his sort of influenced Masato, or is Masato a horrible animal abuser where she's like giving alcohol to endangered species? Are penguins endangered?
Well, he's established as being one of those new hot spring penguins, so I think he's like a designer animal. Like a genetically sort of tampered with creature.
Oh Jesus, dude.
Or like that they've through the process of like a company of some sort has like made designer penguins as a pet.
Yeah, right. I can sort of see that. Yeah,
it's very much got those sort of Blade Runner vibes where like all animals, maybe not all animals, because they have that line in another episode where they're like some of the ecosystems are starting to stabilize and bring themselves back to normal after this sort of second impact, which had caused a sort of catastrophic sort of
that's the thing,
environmental disaster.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't really explored that very much, apart from the lines that you just mentioned.
Yeah, but like, so whatever the case, Pen Pen is obviously something that has been either through sort of like selective breeding has been like reintroduced to the world.
Yeah, okay.
And either because of her status, she was able to acquire him, or you can literally purchase this sort of penguin as a pet. Either way, like he is new.
Yeah, right.
Like that either this species didn't exist or has only just sort of been reintroduced into the world.
Okay.
Which sort of lines up with that idea of like over 50% of life being eradicated in Thanos' snap.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh, Pen, whatever. Yeah, I'm wondering the whole... One of the most interesting things in this episode was what we just said, Ritsuko sort of... I don't know if it's playing matchmaker.
She's certainly initiating
She's got an
reason
agenda
for
100%
for Shinji and Rei to interact.
I'm wondering if it's more she thinks it would be good for Shinji or it would be good for Rei or for both. Because Rei, Rei needs some loving too. Like she's not loving, but she's as lonely or as messed up as Shinji is, if not more.
Yeah, she very much like, despite this sort of like robotic sort of personality where it's like very short answers, very sort of like no extraneous talking, everything is she sort of processes all conversations with like a question of sort of like she doesn't read between the lines very much.
That's right.
She sort of like is listening and sort of prompting like why instead of like reading into why. And you sort of see through this episode interactions with Gendo that shows that like, well, in a way, she's very much a real girl. That there is not like, she's not a robot. She is a person, and despite the sort of her strange upbringing, I guess, or just the way that her personality has formed, when she is shown affection in the way from like Gendo, she does respond accordingly. She is like no different to any other person in that regard. And that's sort of like, you know, like in the show, sort of what I would argue is the way that they've sort of been developing characters so far is being like open about the sort of three-dimensionality of people.
Yeah, that's true.
She's presented as one thing, mainly because we've only seen her through Shinji's eyes this entire time.
Yeah.
And then this episode, we start to see him paying more attention to her.
Yeah,
becoming
those freaking
more
calves, man.
Yeah.
How about those calves? That's so weird.
In order of priority.
Yeah. The two horn dog millionaires, Toji and Kensuke, yeah, like Shinji. You like Rei, huh? You like her breasts, huh? What about her thighs? What about her calves? Just, it starts from the most sexualized body part, and then like goes down the list. You know, calves, huh? What are those kneecaps, huh? What about those knuckles? You know, what about
those knuckles?
I don't know. Is it a translation error? Or is Toji? Look, Toji's weird. We know that.
Toji's a calf man.
That's true. Yeah. Would you raise your family in Tokyo 3? Would you move?
Move away from Tokyo 3?
Yeah.
I think it depends on what your job is. Running a convenience store.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anywhere,
like
right?
if you're not working at Nerve, why are you living in Tokyo 3?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Do you live in Tokyo 3 unless you've got a spouse who works at Nerve? Is there anyone who lives in Tokyo 3 who doesn't work at Nerve?
Yeah, possibly not.
It seems like it's open knowledge that Nerve is a thing.
Yeah.
They also put together, whether they knew already, I don't think they did know, because I don't think any unit has been shown out in the city until Unit 1 is launched to fight the first Angel, which, a slight correction, I was thinking long and hard about this. I was calling it Sachiel.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking about how that would probably be pronounced.
Oh, all right.
And I'm thinking Sachiel.
Oh,
like
okay.
Michael and...
Oh.
Like, just thinking about how the CH would work typically with those sort of names.
Okay. Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Makes a little bit more sense to me now. But, I don't think until that first Angel fight do people really know of the Ava units. So I think... obviously Toji and Kensuke, because of their interactions with Shinji so far, I think they've been able to put two and two together that Rei is also a pilot.
Yeah, that's right.
And that up until then, she was just a weird girl who's been in their class since year 7. So we
not
know...
had any friends.
Yeah.
What year are these people in now? Well, they're 14 or 15. What year is that?
I don't know. Maybe year 8, year 9?
I don't know.
Depends. That also might have been a weird translation as well.
Yeah.
Depending on how their classes work.
Yeah, we talk about people, talking about whether you would move.
I think they're supposed to be 14.
Yeah, okay. Whether they would move or stay in Tokyo 3. But then you have these people, like there are places in America, in the US, where they're known to just have like hurricanes or tornadoes or whatever.
Oh yeah, people don't move out of disaster.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you get people like that, like, we're not moving for anything.
That's very true.
So,
and also, like, I can't imagine like Tokyo 3 was created with like a big poster board that's like, hey, like if you move into this new city, you're going to be attacked. I think it's more like this new city popped up, and like especially when it's like sort of a fortress city, you're like, cataclysmic world event. The capital's been shifted around a few times. Tokyo 3 sounds like a pretty safe place to live. I mean, it's a brand new city. When the sea levels are rising, moving inland is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, it might be one of the only places that you can live in.
Well, yeah, that's very.
We don't know how
that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, we don't know how affected the rest of the place has been.
Yeah, it has been a huge disaster that has affected. It's essentially allowed. This disaster was so huge that it basically forced all labor in a city and the economy of a country into one project.
And yet they somehow still had the fucking time and resources to invest in animal designer animals.
Look, you can't live in a world without animals, Jen.
I guess.
What are you fighting for?
The Pen? Really?
Pen is a little G. Yeah,
okay, whatever. Let's leave Pen out of this. Is it too much of this
the less we can say about Pen, the better.
Too much of this episode has been...
but how about that episode preview? We get a full
nice
shot of Pen straight up front.
Yeah, he's standing up on some precipice and he's looking out towards...
Yeah, he's on the balcony, looking up into the starry sky.
Maybe he's looking over towards the Arctic and,
just wondering.
Go home. Yeah. Wondering what could have been.
Should point out, Jen, that penguins aren't in the Arctic.
Oh, Antarctic.
They're in the Antarctic.
But yeah, okay, whatever. That's true. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think we've danced around the sort of the big scene of the episode.
What was that?
Shinji going round to Rei's place, and we have like a huge insight into how she lives her life. Just bags and boxes of bandages. Obviously she's lived with the injuries from that test activation.
Yeah, right.
For quite a while.
She's probably had
at
to
least been out of the
them
hospital since just after the first battle. She was checked out of the hospital and she's been able to obviously live at home.
Yep. But still, she's obviously still recovering.
Yeah, having to change bandages regularly. But apart from that, just a huge, like, sort of very Spartan lifestyle.
Yeah, there's like a fridge, a bed, but
blank concrete walls.
But one of the few things, like keepsakes, like there's no decoration or anything,
No, it's a bed, boxes of bandages, a glass of water, medication.
Sounds like a perfect first date to me. No, one of the few things she has is the Gendo glasses.
Yes. The warped and cracked ones,
the ones
from
that he
when
cracked.
he saved her.
Yeah. That was a nice moment.
Yeah, it's that sort of relationship between Gendo is very much at the forefront of this episode.
Yeah, Gendo and Rei.
Like, very clearly,
I wasn't expecting
a defining part of her personality is that.
Yeah,
I guess her loyalty to Gendo and her affection for him. Like Shinji, after they leave her place and he chases after her with he doesn't really chase after her. He just
stalks her.
Walks and stalks.
Yeah, walking and stalking.
Yeah, it just keeps a strange sort of buffer zone.
Yeah,
after their sort of interaction with your very tropey sort of accidentally falls on her, grabs her breast, jumps up in shock sort of moment, and she's obviously very unfazed by the whole situation. Yeah. All she wants is the glasses off his face.
Yeah, right.
I sort of wonder, like, when she first sees him and he's looking at her, she's just gotten out of the shower.
Yes.
And she's just in the towel and the slippers. And he looks at her through the cracked glasses. Yep. And I wonder if, like, when she looks at him, whether his sort of resemblance to Gendo is something. Because she does pause at first. Yep. Like, she notices him there. She looks... And then he speaks, and she quickly makes a beeline over to take the glasses from him. Yep. And then we have the whole, like, him stumbling around like a buffoon, rips the drawer open because his bag has conveniently hooked itself onto the partially open drawer. Yeah, right. He, like, her underwear just, like, flings up into the air and is like, it's a very anime sort of scene.
It was fun. It was so ridiculous. Like,
how many layers of, like, awkwardness and...
That's what I mean.
Can you pile onto a guy who, like, can't speak to people normally?
Well, she's already naked, right? He's already basically straddling her. That's bad enough. And then on top of that, her underwear is all over you as well. Yeah.
What would Gendo think? Attaboy?
What would Pen think? Attaboy, yeah, no.
I think Pen's watching.
Yeah.
From the fridge.
Pen's in the fridge. No, we've seen that Pen likes steaming, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, he likes both. He has the fridge that he sleeps in. Yeah. And then he also rocks the hot springs. Yeah, so that scene, obviously, like, she just takes that whole sort of thing very nonchalantly.
Yeah, she does.
She's like maximum James Dean. She is the most aloof character in the sort of show. She's just completely unfazed by everything that goes on, with the exception of take those glasses off your face.
That and
she puts them back into the case to keep them safe. And then dressed and out the door as if Shinji wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And then you have him following behind very awkwardly, riding in the same carriage but not sitting anywhere near her. And then, like, waits until she tries to swipe in. Yeah. It's like he swipes in, like, tries to do that move, and he's like, "This is what I was trying to give you."
Yeah, right.
Snatches it off him, goes through. He's left looking like an idiot again. And then they had that sort of escalator ride.
Well, the escalator ride is where we have one of her only instances of emotion, where Shinji sort of, doesn't speak too kindly of his dad, and and Rei
She
slaps
puts
him in the face.
firmly in his place.
Yeah. Rei slaps him in the face, and somewhere from the shadows, Toji's like, "Yes, I approve.
Yeah.
I approve of violence." So
Well, because they have that conversation about like why does she do it? Like, and is she scared to get back in? And she's like, her entire reading of that is like, "Don't you have faith in your father's work?" And he's like, "What? Why the fuck would I have faith in my father's work? Like, who the fuck is he to me?" And she reacts, like as someone who has like great faith in him.
Well, yes, because he says, "Why would I trust my dad?"
Yeah.
But Rei is obviously...
Well, she was saved by him.
That's what I mean. She's very trusting of Gendo.
Yeah.
Would probably trust him with her life.
He's the only light in Rei's life. Yeah. But that's how it feels. Like
right.
This sort of like extremely dimmed sort of like existence where she is like basically almost not a person in her the way she sort of behaves and lives is very sort of like non-existent.
Yeah, apart from
except
Gendo.
for that moment where Gendo comes out to her on the walkway and she jumps off the unit and she's like very like
that's the other thing. Yeah, she jumps very like not playfully, but there's life there.
Yeah, there's like she's the life
energetic.
suddenly rushes through her.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She's not adept at living.
I'm very
is Ritsuko's line about her.
Yeah. Don't you think it's bizarre that even if Masato and Ritsuko are sort of doing a matchmaking thing? I don't know.
I don't know if it's like matchmaking as much as it's like Shinji is a child and should have friends who are his age. Rei and him have a common place to start from, which is that they are both they're co-workers. Yeah. They go to school together. Let's like get some interaction going. That will only benefit both of them.
That's true.
Because it's established that sort of like in Rei's test, the thing that goes wrong is like her mental instability, which shocks the people involved because they're like, Rei having mental instability, she is like the most stable person we know. She's stable, she has no personality.
A stable genius. Yeah.
Yeah, and it threw me there.
It's topical. But it's just bizarre because I definitely see that there's going to be a moment.
An interplay between those three characters.
Yeah. Or Shinji's going to say to Rei, or even say to her, or at least think, why do you have a connection with my dad and I don't? And you would think that Masato and Ritsuko could sort of see that blowing. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. These two ladies are just sort of very irresponsible, I feel. I don't think these two should be supervising children.
Well, they don't have their working with children certificate.
Masato can't even look after a freaking penguin.
He looks after himself. I think the other thing to mention before we wrap up is this episode ends with another angel attacking.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
And, like Rei has just activated Unit 0.
Yep.
It's successful.
Yep.
And then the question is like, do we launch
Do we
Unit
go
0?
with that?
She's ready to go. And they're like, well, but she's not combat ready.
Yeah.
And Shinji now has had the sort of most experience. He's
right.
fought and defeated two angels.
Yeah.
And third one inbound. Obviously, let's send him out.
Yeah.
So he's launched, and they detect that the angel is basically preempting him. And as soon as he pops out of the little hatch in the ground, he's targeted by a high-powered beam weapon.
Oh, that was a thing? That the angel sort of
as he's going
predicted.
up the sort of launch tube,
they
detect an energy signature
and
that it's charging. And then as he launches, Masato like yells dodge, and it's like just fires through a building, completely melts a building, and then immediately hits him in the chest plate.
So the angels
and he's like being cooked in the entry plug. Look, that's why I'm a little bit worried about how LCL is like a liquid that you're in, because it just invites you into being sort of boiled alive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all those electronics all around you and stuff. Yeah, it can't be good. I mean, we've seen what it does to glasses.
Yeah,
right.
Turns them into
trendy
eyewear.
Bespoke, tastefully distressed spectacles. And that Gendo wouldn't be wearing no cheap glasses, right?
No.
He'd have some like stainless steel.
He had the nerve engineers and designers work on those glasses specifically for him. He's like, I want to periodically angle my head and for those glasses to just turn into like a white sheen so bright that it blinds those who look at me.
It will be done, sir.
And I also would like my platform to descend whenever I deliver a zinger.
Yeah, we're working on it as fast as we can. We haven't spoken, just very briefly, only because it was a very brief moment in the episode. Angels have, 98% human DNA? Or 98%
when they
match?
are sort of examining the sample of the angel
one.
from the last attack, they discover the sort of comparative DNA of humans and angels.
It's beautiful.
Definitely sort of another one of those little mystery points that they're setting in early.
Yeah. I would have thought like humans and the units would have like crossover DNA thing,
because of the synchronization.
Yeah, given the whole synergy thing. But I wasn't expecting that for the angels to have the DNA.
Just another one of those little mysteries getting planted, ready to go.
Yeah, I guess. Let's go.
Our second episode for today is Rei II, originally aired on November 8th, 1995, written by Hideaki Anno and Akio Satsukawa, and directed by Hiroyuki Ishido. So in this episode, we have the conclusion to the angel attack in the previous episode, where we find out that Shinji survived the attack. They retrieve him. They basically formulate a plan to strike back at the angel, which the later half of the episode involves that operation to defeat the angel.
Yeah. Sucking all the power from Japan.
Yeah, they miss that first shot.
Put it in a
Shinji has to reload the gun. Rei has to jump in and block him with the shield.
That's right.
And fortunately, on the second shot, they take the angel out. That's just the broad overview of the episode.
Yeah.
Jumping into it, obviously, straight off the bat, we have... I think in the previous episode, just as Shinji's being launched, we have the first appearance of the musical theme, Decisive Battle.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And you're telling me that this is like a main theme of the
the
series.
Like the other track, Angel Attack, which is the one that plays typically when an angel is making its first appearance.
Yeah.
This is one of those other sort of recurring sort of themes throughout the show.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, this sort of like. I think the overall sort of inspiration for a lot of the music in Neon Genesis was actually inspired by John Barry's work on the James Bond series.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically,
this definitely had a James Bond-esque thing.
Yeah, so Decisive Battle is probably the most sort of similar in terms of like one for one. There's a song in From Russia With Love called Takes the Lecter.
Okay.
And Decisive Battle, like you listen to those side by side and they... basically sound identical.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
You can definitely see the composers sort of what sort of influence they were working with. And I think this is one that in a way I would probably call the most direct sort of homage to that musical style.
Yeah.
Which, like that's like 30 years difference between the two.
Even it's interesting you say the James Bond connection because in the closing credits of each episode it's sort of like got a James Bondy sort of feel.
The karaoke renditions of Fly Me to the Moon,
which is that sort of, swing,
Yeah, I can definitely see.
And also the end credits roll, but to the side you have Rei's silhouette sort of spinning.
Yes.
That's sort of like a...
sort of distinctly James Bond opening titles.
Yeah.
With the silhouette
What a
of
weird
women.
choice.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's one of those sort of like... Japan has, like that, once they open the gates sort of like to Western culture, you sort of see that permeate through in really interesting ways, the way they take those influences and recontextualize them.
Yeah. Well, look, it's not as if the, what you call Decisive Battle is, that music is out of place because I thought it was really fitting.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Especially the use of it, sort of always in that, setting up for a major operation.
Well, I was about to say, for this battle in particular, because so far the angel battles have been...
Fisticuffs.
Thank you. This one I really liked because it had that... It was slow, it was methodical. It had like the tension, the drill is coming.
Yeah.
And we all sort of have to come together and think of a plan.
Yeah, it's a really good demonstration of how Nerve works as an organization beyond... we built a giant fuck off robot
Yes,
to,
right.
to punch guys in the face.
Yeah.
You sort of see Masato initiates this plan, which is like it's got an 8.7% success rate, but it's like the highest percentage of success that they have for all the other plans, and sort of you see that faith in the organization.
Yeah,
that,
right.
Like, she comes in, she presents the idea to Gendo, and he's not grilling her on it.
No,
he takes all the facts in.
Yeah,
he listens to all of the plan, the
Mm-hmm.
statistics, and he's just like, do it.
Yeah, well, that's Gendo.
And it's like Ritsuko is the one who's like grilling her on it. Like, you know, like the percentage of success is so small. Like, why are we doing it? It's like, because it's the highest percentage we have. Like, if we're going to do something, it may as well be this. And then obviously you have that sort of requisition scene where they go to the SDF
and take the
and
missile.
just take the gun that they have.
Yeah, this episode, it had like a very sort of submarine battle type feel, you know?
Right.
It's slow.
That tactical sort of...
Yeah, they know the enemy, you know, it's right there. And they have 10 hours, which in like movie, you know...
Yeah, you've got the ticking
TV.
clock. Everything has to happen.
But it's not like 2 minutes, you know? It's 10 hours. They have time to, you know, harvest all the power from Japan and, you know, put this plan in place. So I liked it for
I think
that
it really
reason.
does show off the sort of the world that they're living in.
Yeah.
That this sort of like huge upcoming battle is a nationwide effort that to be able to even mount like a proper offensive against this angel, they have to leverage the entire sort of Japan's power
and
to be able to have a fighting chance.
And this is sort of the first time we sort of see that. So far, it's sort of been centered around Tokyo 3, and that's all what the stakes have been, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, now we see it's sort of the scope broadening.
I do like how you've sort of got this idea that in the first episode, Nerve is very much like waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And the JSDF is like the one running the operation.
Yeah,
they're trying all the conventional weaponry.
Yeah, the tanks
the
and
tanks,
stuff.
the helicopters, everything. And then it's like, well, I guess you can have your turn.
I guess we'll use the robot you've been working on.
Yeah,
15
and then
years.
now we sort of see after essentially 2 successes against Angels.
Yeah.
It's just basically Unit 1 is running this operation, and more specifically, Nerve can requisition anything they need.
Yeah, that's right. We see there, and it's sort of permeating the collective, you know, consciousness of the population, because we see Shinji's classmates.
Oh yeah, all waiting out to see
the
waiting
units. And being like, "Go, Evangelions, go!" You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hacked my dad's laptop to find out where they'd be coming out from.
That guy's a fucking psycho. I mean, he gets shit done.
He just loves these. He loves these military tech.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I like the tone of this episode. I'm wondering what...
Got that little mecha boner, and it needs to be seen to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm wondering what the future Angel battles are going to look like, you know, or are going to feel like. You know, is this
an outlier? Or...
Yeah, is this more quieter one? Just an anomaly, or is it going to be sort? You know, because I think this was my favorite battle.
I really like the way this builds tension in that straight away in the ending of the previous episode, you establish that it essentially knew Shinji was coming up the tube, and it was charging ready to shoot as soon as he appeared, shot through a building to hit him. And then in the start of this episode, it opens with Masato essentially putting out various targets to see what the
that
range
was cool.
is.
And that's what I like about this sort of episode. You know, they had time to think and, you know, make plans and gather data, you know, and variables and put together a plan.
You really see in this episode that like the organization of Nerve and how like Masato is the captain, like that she knows what's going on and initiates a plan to both collect data, as you're saying, and also executes it, or conceives of and executes a plan based off that data, where they work out very quickly that it's got an AT field that is so powerful that like you can see it with the naked eye. Yeah,
imagine that.
The small village that's like been destroyed miles away by the mortar shell that hits it and ricochets off.
Yeah, like,
there's like some little town, you know, on the other side of Japan is they're just like going about their day and a mortar shell's
Yeah,
just
milking
like
the cows and then bang. Oh, well.
out of nowhere. Which they even talk about that as well, that they could try conventional weaponry like missiles and all these other things, but it would end up just doing more damage to the city than it would to the angel itself.
Yeah, which is true. Not only can Nerve make like, super mecha robot, battle robots, but make that big balloon.
Yeah, the very
model.
intricate balloon that comes out. Wait, 1-for-1 recreation of Unit 1.
Yeah, okay. In balloon
as
form.
a balloon. That was the nation's efforts made that balloon first. They're like, okay, so everyone, we had a great week making this balloon together.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, Japan is united.
So since the big 50% of the population being wiped out fiasco,
everyone needs a hobby, and that hobby became balloonism.
It seems that there's
it's a religion.
It seems that there's three things that they are all sort of focusing their attention on, or their resources on: massive robots, balloons, and apparently designer animals. Right?
Yes,
three very niche things,
and the acquisition of waifus.
The acquisition of waifus, yeah.
The scene where Rei, she comes to give the briefing to Shinji.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a little bit more of that sort of relationship and sort of developing their sort of interactions.
But again,
with each
she's
other.
all business, right? At first, at least. She comes in and she's like, I've been, sent here to brief you on...
Yeah, I'm here to do the
operation.
briefing.
Yeah.
Pulls a little handbook out.
Yeah, right.
Starts reading the plan.
And then Shinji does his own debriefing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
sitting
naked.
upright and then realize, his dick's not drawn, but it's there.
Oh, I know.
Realizes that he's basically laying in the nude with his that sheet just a little bit too low.
Yeah, I wonder if it was
strategic.
Strategic sheet placement.
I don't think Shinji's awkwardness would allow him to...
I don't know. He's getting more confident, by the day. You don't know these things.
Well, yeah, we have, following on to that, where she's sort of like...
You know what carbs will do to a man? Sorry, go on.
We have that scene where they have that interaction, and it's like, I don't know if I want to pilot it, and she's like, we'll just stay in bed. Yeah. And obviously, sort of, he...
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, he gets a reverse psychology into getting up out of bed, meets her at the cage, and they have that second scene where they're both getting ready, and he sort of asks her about, like, isn't she afraid, and how does she do it, and we get that sort of, like, because I have to, because it's the only thing that ties me to humanity, that there's nothing else other than piloting the Evangelion.
And interesting when that happened... she's like, oh, because I have a bond, And, she says a bond to humanity, protecting. But she says a bond, and Shinji says, what, to my dad?
Oh, yeah,
Like
questions who it's to.
Yeah, so he's noticing...
that's definitely feeding back onto the previous episode where he watches quite... with, like, what I would say envy.
Yeah.
This sort of Rei's relationship with his father that he doesn't have. And, Rei and him are similar ages, so it's like... It wouldn't be hard for Shinji to see that and take that one way, which is, like, jealousy. That she essentially has a relationship.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's only privy to the information that he has at hand.
Yeah, right. And wasn't it interesting at the end when he reaches in to Rei's unit?
Oh, we see that
pulls her out.
Paralleling between...
Parallel is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Sans glasses.
Yeah, the sort of 1-for-1 recreation of Gendo's rescuing of Rei from the activation test.
And even Rei knows that Rei has an image of Gendo
you had that
for
flash
a sec.
of Gendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really sort of interesting setup.
I don't think I've seen... I mean, I might be naive. I don't think I've seen a sort of dynamic like... Yeah. Dad, son, another person... where it's like...
She's a girl his age, and he's obviously, like, interested in her, like, in a sort of just a, like, crush sort of way.
Yeah.
But then you've got that interaction between Rei and his father, which sort of feels, from Shinji's perspective, at this point in the series, would be easy for him to be sort of jealous, like, that she has a sort of father-daughter relationship with Gendo. But then Rei herself, like, because we haven't had too much of a sort of insight into her personality, it's like, is Rei's sort of perspective of Gendo like a sort of fatherly image of him, or is it like he's her hero? And is that sort of hero worship of Gendo also a sort of a romantic interest from her as well? And like,
a lot of
as you said,
dynamics
like
going
that
on.
sets up a really sort of interesting way of viewing
Yes.
how all those characters view each other.
And I'm wondering if we are going to see a moment where Shinji sort of, you know, gets angry at Rei or has a big blow up, like, you know, you have what I don't have. For some reason, I can't see it happening. He doesn't seem to blame her,
like which way is
or
that
be
gonna
like
go?
aggressively jealous. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
he's certainly very sort of spineless in a way. He's not confrontational at all.
Yes.
Even Masato in that previous episode where he's watching his father, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Nothing," and she's like, "Well, when you say nothing like that, you're basically asking everyone to pay attention to you, so you may as well just be upfront about what's bothering you." And that prompts him to ask, like, how did my father burn his hands? And they explain that he rescued Rei from the whole failed testing. Interestingly enough, you sort of, in that paralleling between Rei's rescue by Gendo and then in this episode, her rescue by Shinji, obviously he's wearing the plug suit, so you still see the steam coming off it. He could have very well been in the position to have an identical injury, but he's fortunately protected by the suit that he's wearing.
I wonder if, because Gendo is obviously very, you know, protective of Rei. I wonder if Shinji rescuing Rei, you know, like Gendo
that would
is
set a dynamic in Gendo that
Gendo's like, good job, son. You know.
Right. Okay.
No, that's what I'm wondering.
Like how
something's got to give, man. I mean, Shinji's got to do something that Gendo is like, you did good, kid.
Get your
I'm
attention.
wondering when we're going to have the you did good, kid moment, if it ever comes.
Yeah, because he basically has only ever received any sort of commendation from Masato in that second episode where she's what you did was, you know, it was a praiseworthy thing.
Yeah, that's
which,
right.
you know, weird translation. Probably like what you did was admirable. Something like that. But yeah, apart from that, no sign of appreciation from Gendo. Not even like really an acknowledgement. I don't think we've seen anything between Gendo and Shinji.
Yeah, we haven't
since that sort of opening episode, really.
Well, yeah, when he was,
even when he runs away, Gendo's nowhere to be seen.
That's true. We've seen Gendo being like disappointed with him. You know, remember the scene where the elevator opens and they just stare at each other?
Oh well, I definitely think apathetic.
Yeah. But
because he was there to see Rei.
Yeah, that's true. But since Shinji's sort of been having these victories a little bit, you know, I wonder if the next time they cross paths...
Are we bound to have a...
Yeah, are we going to... Yeah, who knows?
Something
I hope so.
Interesting to sort of see if that develops further.
Yeah.
Or like what direction it goes when they sort of do come together.
Yeah,
next.
well, if Gendo is all... Not all business, because we've seen his affection with Rei, but if he's very pragmatic and, you know, about... He values people about what they can bring to the enterprise, you know, to the operation.
Yep.
Yeah. Then when he starts making a name for himself, this Shinji dude, what happens?
Yeah. The other thing, so we have that scene where Rei sort of like all she has is piloting the Eva.
Yeah.
And that like Shinji's like, aren't you afraid you'll die? And she's sort of like, you won't die.
Yeah.
Because I'll protect you. That's very much like. For my reading of that is sort of like her utilitarian sort of view of herself.
Yeah.
That because all she's
doesn't
got
matter
is piloting the unit.
Right.
Like, he's the one firing the gun, so he has to be protected. And sort of like the way that she says goodbye is very much like she goes into that knowing that if she's taking the brunt of that shot, that if anyone's going to die in this mission...
Yeah, that's true.
Not in a way that they're still successful, which to be successful in the mission implies that the person firing the gun has to be able to get the shot off. She very much goes into that as if she's going to die.
Yeah.
And has zero consideration for her own well-being.
Yeah.
Which obviously prompts Shinji, what he says to her when he
yeah,
does
you don't
open the
need to
capsule.
go into a mission and say, goodbye.
Yeah, don't say goodbye. It's too sad.
Yeah, right.
She's like, awkwardly looks at crying boy and then doesn't know what to do.
Well, I guess it's like, in some ways, I suppose it's easier going into a dangerous mission like that when you've convinced yourself that, your safety, your life, whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that the mission is the priority.
Yeah, but I guess we might see a whole exploration of, okay, yeah, it might be easier, surface level, to be totally numb to the consequences, But if it means you're going to be like totally closed off emotionally and just be like, yeah, goodbye, Shinji, like how much disappointment do you risk exposing yourself to when these dangerous situations come up?
Right.
Yeah,
well, at the end of it, I think we really get to see that sort of like the central thrust of what the episodes seem to be about so far, which is that sort of like finding connection.
Yeah.
And sort of finding your sort of like who you are amongst it all. And this is sort of Rei's first step into not just a sort of relationship with Gendo, which is like very much a uneven sort of relationship.
Yeah.
But now one with a peer where they sort of both saved each other.
Yeah, and it's okay to be peers.
Yeah,
and have a connection
Shinji's
like
final
that.
message, like in that episode, being like, just smile.
Yeah.
Like something
right.
good has happened.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have a sort of uncertain reaction to something that is good.
Yeah, right.
Which is that you're okay.
Yep.
And I'm okay. Like we made it through it.
You made it through.
Which I feel is a real sort of step forward for Shinji as well, in that sort of stepping up and like being able to speak to Rei in a way that is meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not that sort of like awkward, anime, awkward boy, fondling girl sort of like scenario. You get this nice sort of like mature moment between the two of them. Here's the big thing in the room. We're going to talk about this new angel that appears.
Yeah.
The most aesthetic angel so far.
Well, we a couple episodes ago, we were talking about, we had the first angel, very humanoid. We had the second angel, exact opposite, that stingray looking thing. We're wondering where do they go from here? And it was completely different again. It was almost like it didn't have a humanoid or animal-y sort of form. It was like a structure.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Very
like a fortress, they called it.
Yeah,
they called it a fortress.
So this angel is Ramiel.
Okay.
Which is Thunder of God.
Well, I guess a drill makes thunder. Like a thunder is, I think,
like, because it's got that high-powered weapon.
Yeah.
So it's that, like, real sort of, like, smite you sort of, like, feel to it.
Yeah. How many angels? Well, no, don't tell me. But there's got to be, what, like, at least...
Well, there's
10,
about
20?
26 episodes in the series.
Yeah, okay.
And not every episode has an angel.
What?
But there are... Well, we already know that. We've seen 6 episodes and
I guess there's also got to be room for, like, character stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
Well, that'll do us for this week.
That was good.
I think we had a nice couple of episodes really balancing that sort of like character development and then also giving us another insight into how Nerve and the Evangelions combat the angel threat.
And an insight into how your fucking mind works. It's a fucking geometric... Whatever. Go on. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I am Jordan, and you can find me on Twitter at It's Got Stealth. And as always...
I'm a shadow dude. I'm an enigma.
Thanks for listening.